Hello friends, in my last video I had told you about the planning of our vacation in Hawaii in Maui Islands and also how we landed there and settled down in our resort. Today I'm going to take you around an informal tour of Maui Islands as I explain and describe my family vacation time there for a week. Our first day of vacation began with a bang. A hearty breakfast at home was followed by family time on our resort beach. You could say it was an extension of the famous Kanapalli beach. The kids had a blast swimming with or without noodles or surfboard and building castles and tunnels on the sand or simply jumping and racing with the mighty waves, squealing in delight or screaming with fear. And then we walked back to our resort and then to our apartment. And while the kids lined up to take a shower, the ladies prepared a piping hot meal. And after lunch, it was time to have a relaxed afternoon. The evening took us to the Banyan Tree Park, which was just a 15-minute drive. It is said the seedling was brought from India and was planted in 1873 by William Owen Smith. It is now a sprawling tree with so many more branches rooted to the ground. So widespread is it that some extra support has been provided to it at some points. After this, we walked to the nearby town of Lahaina with its quaint shops. We just did window shopping. Things seemed pretty expensive. We then went to Sale Pepe restaurant for pizza. The wait was unusually long and the kids had lost their patience and appetite by the time their order of mac and cheese and pizza arrived. They were compensated with yummy pineapple ice cream at one of the ice cream shops in Lahaina. Also, a sugarcane stall had caught the eye of our sons, but it had already closed. They resolved to return to the place before 5 p.m. another day. We began our next day by going to the nearby farmers market after a good breakfast at home. Plenty of mangoes, bananas, and great looking, reasonably priced Maui gold pineapples. We bought a couple of them for $3 each. Great buy. Needless to say, they tasted great. Then we drove to Kapalua Beach. The beach was simply awesome. Honey-hued, fine sand lashed by sparkling clear turquoise water, churning it into a frothy chocolate milkshake. On the left end, there were rocks. On the other end, there was a crescent-shaped rocky cove. Snorkelers flocked towards the cove, and our sons ventured there and returned with great enthusiasm to share their fabulous experience with us. They could swim with shoals of multicolored fish, they said. Our two elder grandkids chose to join them, so the foursome swam again to the spot, spotted more fish, and enjoyed swimming with them. But their hopes of seeing turtles were unfulfilled. But they were really excited. They wanted the rest of us to enjoy the experience, so they patiently instructed us about snorkeling techniques, hitched us onto the snorkeling gear, and took us to chest deep water and asked us to put our face underwater and breathe through our mouth for as long as we could. We took some time to get the hang of it. It was such an awesome experience to watch the fishes swim under our body with each wave. We didn't venture too far, we didn't dare to. So we just saw the fishes that were not that colorful. The water was so clear, we could sometimes see fishes with our naked eyes, even as we sat relaxing in the water. In the evening, we drove to Lahaina town for sugarcane juice and ice cream. $10 down the drain, as the sugarcane juice was a far cry from the Indian ganne ka ras. In the evening, we took a stroll around our Papakia resort. The term aloha, that is welcome or goodbye, had become a part of our vocabulary during the week. We then walked down to our resort beach to catch the sunset at 7 p.m. 2 days of continued beach activities had tanned us in spite of sunscreen, etc. We decided to take a break from the beaches the next day. We drove to Iowa Valley State Park. On the way, a signboard about sale of hot banana bread caught our fancy. We stopped, bought a warm banana bread for $7 and a tender coconut for $10. The banana bread simply melted in our mouth. We decided to pick up one more while driving back. We reached Iowa Valley State Park, paid $5 parking fee, and just about found parking space for the two cars. A couple of thousand feet above sea level, it is a small tropical rainforest with a stream running around through it and surrounded by towering emerald peaks. This state park is home to a Maui landmark, the 1,200-foot Iao Needle, which is an iconic green mantled rock, a high peak created by erosion of the softer rock around it over many millennia. This is one of the wettest places in the world and the second wettest place in Hawaii. The summit of the valley receives an average of over an inch of rain per day. It could rain 7 inches one day and take the rest of the week off. Luckily, our visit was on one of those break periods. It is also recommended that we reach there early for a good view as the needle gets engulfed in clouds. It has a footbridge and we could see a stream flowing below and some waterfalls too. We walked along the trail and went higher up to have a good look at the needle. We also climbed up 135 steps to reach the lookout for some fascinating views. Then we returned, took another loop down, and took a walk along the rainforest, the place which had a lot of vegetation. We saw bananas on trees, sugarcane, some more tropical plants, but the place itself was a bit of a letdown after the fairly long drive. The reason, we gathered, was the park had been reopened just a couple of days ago after closure for a year due to severe storm damage in 2016 and was not in its best form when we visited in 2017. We also had to use porta potties, that is, portable potties, as there were no regular restrooms there. It was a good day's outing. The next day's agenda was beach hopping. During our drive to Kamaole Beach, popularly known as Camp 3, in the south of Maui, we got to see stretches of beautiful small beaches. Camp 3 proved to be a little more angry than the beaches we had visited. Everyone was happy without snorkeling activities and enjoyed riding the giant waves. Every beach we visited seemed better than the others. It was sunny. The average day temperature was in the high 70s, but breezy. So it was not like we were getting roasted, but we did realize we were getting tanned a toasty brown. After an hour there, we just washed off the sand, dried ourselves a bit in the sun, hopped into our cars, and drove further south to reach McKenna Beach. Oh, so irresistible it was that some of us raced towards the beautiful sands and the giant inviting waves. The more cautious ones in our group called back the daredevils to listen to the lifeguards perched farther away. They were warning the swimmers about the dangerous waves and to stay back on the sands. So, after just a little bit of frolicking with the waves, we stood gazing at the waves racing to engulf the shore. We could have stood there forever. While driving back, we halted at Farmer's Market and bought pineapple smoothie in a pineapple and yet another disappointing sugarcane juice and continued the rest of the usual schedule after getting back home. For sunset, we decided to go to the nearby Kanapalli beach. We parked at Whalers Village and walked through the shops and bought something to validate our parking. It was fun window shopping while the kids enjoyed their ice cream. We then walked along the beach barefoot, holding our footwear in our hands while watching the activities at the eateries of Weston. The next day, it was going to be Halekiala National Park in East Maui. The kids had heard about the dormant volcano in Maui and were eager to see it. We jacked up their enthusiasm in a bid to prepare them for a long drive up an elevation of over 10,000 feet above sea level to Haleakala National Park. The park features the dormant Haleakala volcano, which last erupted between 1480 and 1600 AD. An extremely winding yet well maintained road took us up the mountain. During the course of our drive, at different levels, we could see areas dotted with different types of trees and vegetation and experience different weather conditions too. We soon reached the summit area, which includes the Haleakala crater, the summit of the volcano, and the surrounding area. We took a halt at the visitor center with restroom facilities and then drove up further to the summit with another parking lot and an observation tower. The view from here was simply overwhelming. It seemed as if we were above the clouds. Haleakala Observatory, located here, is an important site as it is above the tropical inversion layer and so experiences excellent viewing conditions and very clear skies. The most attractive feature of the park is the huge Haleakala crater. The interior of the crater has volcanic features including cinder cones. We went along one of the trails leading to the crater, Sliding Sands Trail, and had a tough time keeping the kids away from the vegetation and rocks. It was pretty cold due to the elevation, but it was sunny too. We couldn't be there for sunrise or sunset, which are touted to be spectacular. It was 1 o'clock by the time we decided to drive back. And you're not going to believe this, but one of the cars was low on gas and we had to drive some 35 miles with no gas or facilities available en route. But since it was downhill, we decided we could probably make it by driving on neutral gear. We sent up prayers and kept our fingers crossed, and we made it and got to the gas station. Some dramatic moments at the end of a glorious day. We had been delayed. It was past 2 p.m. Kamana Indian Cuisine restaurant was on our drive back. We called the place and did reservation for 10 for lunch. Needless to say, the hungry brood thoroughly relished the good Indian meal. We drove back home. We had a quiet evening. There was a slight drizzle, and then came the sun, and 2 rainbows appeared right above us. It was our last night at the resort, and the family gathered to end it on a celebratory note with a party to ring in Grandpa's 75th year. On landing in Maui, we had wondered how we would spend a whole week in the small island, but it seemed we had still not had enough of the beaches. Everyone from -7 to 70 plus frolicked with equal gusto. We checked out of our resort around 11, had lunch at Kamana restaurant near McKenna Beach. This time it was a tasty buffet. And after that, we shopped for Hawaiian exclusives next to Tutu's Pantry in Kihei Kalama village. A lot of exclusively Hawaiian items, reasonably priced, and we enjoyed our shopping. Then we drove to the airport, and at the airport we picked up some more Hawaiian pineapple chocolates and macadamia nut chocolates, and we had to screen our check-in bags for plant or animals, as Hawaii is a quarantined place. Took our flight and returned to mainland USA after a fantastic stay in glorious Hawaii. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.